Okay, GTI project. We're working on the rev limiter. We're removing soft fuel cut. We're gonna remove that. We're gonna install ignition rev limiter. It's from Petronics. It's a 600 model, and it's so easy to install. It's only a 3-wire. It's simple. You don't disconnect anything. You just add on one yellow wire to the negative side of the coil, and that'll keep you safe from blowing up your engine once you remove fuel cut. Why removing fuel cut? Well, fuel cut doesn't, how should I put this? It seems to trigger, on this car, seems to trigger at RPMs that are too low, because I have wheel spin, because the car has 193 horses. I already dynoed it at the flywheel. And when you get wheel spin at around 5,000, the car will it'll dart for like this, like that, but the RPMs will climb really quick like that. And I think the computer anticipates an over rev, so it does a fuel cut. And so we're gonna remove that shit, because this car can rev up to 8,000. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Okay, and here we are. This is a Petronic rev limiter. This is the 600 model. It only takes 3 wires. The red that goes to the coil, which is power, and then the ground goes to the body, and this yellow wire goes to the negative, and that's it. You're done. So you've got a rev limiter. So it's real easy to install. Run your wires nice and tucked and all that stuff. Make sure it's covered up and not gonna get hit by rain. And you're done. And this thing is perfect for that. Look at that. You can't even tell. There you go. Bam. Okay, so we're gonna remove the box that goes right there. We're gonna remove it. That's the second computer. It's got 2. 1, 2 underneath. That's the one that we need to upgrade with our crystals, so that we move the RPM range from 7,200 to 8,500. I chose 85, but I have another one for like 8,000. But I wanted to get a 9,000, but I couldn't find one, so whatever. Okay, my little crystals are here. That. So we're gonna put on the computer, we're gonna put on those crystals so that the fuel cut is moved up several thousand RPMs, so that it doesn't have a gradual at low RPM. Do you know what I mean? That's why it's several thousands. Let's go take that off. It's out. Okay. We're gonna switch the bodies. Basically, we're just gonna use this case, but we're gonna use the electronics of this one in this one. This one's burnt, or it needs to be serviced. I can fix it if I had an oscilloscope, but I don't have an oscilloscope, so there. We're gonna change the guts to here, but before that, we're gonna put the crystals, one crystal there. And yeah, this is actually the original box that was in that car, except it was blown, and that's why we can never get it to work for like months. We couldn't figure it out. Turned out this thing was blown. And we got another one from eBay. Yay! I think it came from Chicago area. It worked perfectly fine. This is what gives you the bounce and all that bullshit on the DPR. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up and replace the doodad, and then move it over to this one, because this one is original to the car. It's only 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do not remove any screws, any other ones. Just leave them. We're not gonna go like crazy on this stuff. And oh, this one has a paint. I guess they're marking it so that they know if the new guy that got this from eBay is gonna open it up and therefore void the warranty. Yeah, because that's not factory. That's somebody did this that sells these stuffs on eBay. It's to protect his ass. Alright, so that's it. Crack it open. It should just slide out. There's a very thin gasket. Careful with that. Don't rip it. Rip it. Okay, there we go. Hair released. Alright, so this is what we're looking for. This guy right here. This is a 41 megahertz or 4.1 megahertz. I'm sorry, 4.1 megahertz. That is 7,200 RPMs. Okay, so we're gonna move that 4.2 megahertz. Let me see if I can see it. Yeah, 4.2. Well, technically, it's 4194. That's a 4.2. You know, who's counting that 0.0 something, whatever. So let's go ahead and remove this. I'm going to have to remove that glue right here. Oh, that's really nice glue. This is very rubbery glue. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Remove the solder right there and just pull it out. And then we're going to install this one, which is the 8,500 RPM. Not that it'll ever see that, because I have the rev limiter, the ignition rev limiter, so it's going to go off at 7,200 RPMs. Pop, 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 pop. Versus power is going away. It's gone. Yeah. This is the problem with this this fuel cut style. It basically starts to reduce the power when it senses wheel spin. How does it know it's wheel spin? Because the RPMs will all of a sudden go from to boom like that. It'll do that, and then boom, boom. When it sees it going up that high, it cuts more fuel. So you could call that traction control. Rudimentary traction control. We're gonna remove that shit because that's the way we like our shit. So let me see how I'm gonna remove this glue, and then we'll come back and remove the solder. Solder sucker. We're going to remove that guy. You know what that is? That's actually silicone. It's not glue. Thank God. Because I don't have that kind of glue. But I do have plenty of silicone. And I think that's for, you know, so that vibration doesn't shake that shit loose. Really? Really? Ooh, that's good. Next. There we go. It has a lot of solder. They're still sucking from the bottom. Okay. We're going to see if we can take it out now. Oh, hell no. What I'm going to do is basically just see if I can break. Ah, there we go. It broke. Not broke. It broke loose. It didn't break. Okay, there we go. There's the second one. Okay, both of them are loose now. In theory, I should. Yeah. There we go. It is a 4.194. It's basically a 4.2 megahertz. So we are installing the big mammoth jamma. I was trying to get a 9,000 RPM one. I could not find it in Mauser's Electronics. And usually they have everything. I don't know what's going on. There it is. It's 5M. So it's 5,000 basically. So basically, just look for the damn hole. That's what she said. There we go. Flip it over. Make sure it's all the way down. Component, you don't want to leave them loose because this is a crystal and you don't want vibrations, you know, doing that shit. So basically what you do, just to hold it in, you basically bend it a little bit to one side. You bend it to another side. That'll keep it located in the same location. So now, you just grab solder. I wish I had flux, but I don't have flux. Usually, I had a little bottle of flux with a needle for very, very fine surface mount. But this is not surface mount. This is easy peasy. And yeah, I used to have everything. It's just, I mean, why would I buy a bottle of flux that's this big, big, with the needle if I'm never gonna do surface mount, right? Right. So there's no point in it. That's what I say. Just deal with it because this tip is not made for surface mount. It's made for Okay, that's it. And that's the 1. And that is 2. Okay, she's done. Surface cut it. All right, it is done. I'm gonna put some silicone right here, just so it doesn't rattle. Oh yeah, because it's yeah, definitely want to put silicone in there, stabilize it so it doesn't shake. All right, let's put it back together. Put it back together. I just realized that if I really want to make it like original, I would have to replace this thing right here, remove all the screws right here to replace it with the older face. Or yeah, that's not painted, so it looks better. Well, you know what? I'm that kind of person that I don't give a fuck in certain things. And this is probably one of those things. Okay, so there's a little channel where the PC board goes in. Don't put it upside down. You want to support. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a channel right there. And then same thing over here. So that goes right there. Oh, sorry. I had to remove this so that I could play with it. But before I do that, you know, I'm just showing you how it goes. Goes like that. Slides. That's it. Your 4 screws and you're done. I'm going to put the silicone and then put it back in the car. That's how easy it is to raise your rev limit or basically disable it. It's in. And it started. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, so what was happening before is basically when I would rev it up all the way up to 7,000, it wouldn't pop. Or the pops were very, very minute, like pop, 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 pop. But that's because of the lack of fuel. And it was doing fuel cut. So I lowered it down to 7,000 instead of 7,200, just to, you know, show you. So we're gonna go, and we should be able to hear the rev limiter now that there is no fuel cut. Okay. 7,000, perfect. See that? Now it's loud. The actually pop 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 is loud. Before it was like pop 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 pop. You couldn't even hear it. I wasn't even sure. Wait, is that thing even hooked up? The ignition rev limiter, is that even hooked up? Because I couldn't hear it. But if I would lower it down to like 6,000, you could hear it. And y'all, it's one more time. Just listen to that. It's gonna stop at 7,000. I like it. Okay, and that's how you disable fuel cut. Technically, I didn't disable it. It still hits at 8,500 RPMs. I had the other crystal, a little tiny one, but it vibrates at I think 4.8 megahertz. And basically that one only will go up to 8,200 RPMs. I wanted the 9,000, but I couldn't find the crystal that equals 9,000. So therefore, oh well, I can't do anything about it. So we are going to basically just call it a video. But this is basically a fun little car now. I mean, it pops. It literally pops. Oh, look at this. This is a beautiful little rocket ship. Beautiful. I get thumbs up as much as the Beetle on the freeway when I'm driving. I get a lot of guys just come right by me and they just like perfect, you know. They do that on this car because it's a Survivor. You don't see these anymore. You just don't see them. Basically, but yeah, this engine was built by New Dimensions. These guys. So I don't think this car is gonna blow up. Okay. We did install a rev limiter for the ignition, so it's very reliable. I had that ignition system, rev limiter, on my Beetle before I got the CB black box. So we took it out of storage, and now it's in this car. It's very reliable. So now it pops when I rev the shit out of it. I love it. It's just fun car to drive. Like I said, this engine was built by New Dimensions, and basically they told us that it should make over 200, just slightly above 200 horses at the flywheel, and we're at 193, so we're very, very close. I've just been troubleshooting all the electrical system because the electrical system is 35 years old, and some of it has creepy green death at the connectors. So all I'm having to do is just solder the connectors and they come back. The wires come right back. They give the correct voltage at the other end. So, but that, and also the DPR, I've been screwing around with that, and also the airflow sensor, all that stuff. A lot of modifications went in the last couple of weeks. So it flows more air, more power. And basically, I think we've cracked it. I just need to go for a drive and see what it does. See what it does. Run, little girl. Get the dog. There's a mean little dog over there. Anyways, that is pretty much it. This is where I call it a video. Adios muchachos, adios muchachas. Later, dudes.